How's it going, everyone? Want to talk about a major free title that will be hitting PlayStation 5 in January. This is one that I'm personally looking forward to, and I'm really interested to see how it's going to turn out, so we'll talk about that. Phantom Blade Zero is one of my most anticipated games of 2026, and I think it's going to end up being one of the biggest games of 2026, and some early data and early stats definitely pointing towards that direction. And Hideo Kojima, one of the long-story developers in gaming, obviously, he put out Death Stranding 2 in 2025. Death Stranding 2 will probably be getting a PC port in 26, maybe hitting other platforms. I could see Death Stranding getting a Switch 2 port as well. But I would imagine that a lot of work is going to be put towards Fizzant, and Hideo Kojima has shared that 2026 New Year's message. We'll talk that at the end of this video. But first of all, the free-to-play fighting game in 2XKO will be launching on January 20th, 2026 on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, and it will be totally free-to-play. This is one that I find rather interesting because how often do you see a fighting game that is tailored to be a competitive fighting game be totally free-to-play? With games like Mortal Kombat and so on and so forth, you know, Blaze Blue, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear, those games are all pay-to-play titles. 2XKO is going to be a free-to-play fighting game. Now, obviously, Riot, no stranger to free-to-play games. This is based on the League of Legends world, and you have a lot of the characters from the League of Legends world in the game itself. And obviously, the fan base of League are going to naturally check this game out, and you know, I played League a lot when I was younger in high school and whatnot. Those days are long behind me, although when the world shut down, I was playing League a little bit more, but yeah, I'm never gonna go back to League. But games that are based on League of Legends, I think the world in League of Legends is incredible. Arcane was a great show. Ruined King is an awesome game, and 2XKO, now you have a fighting game, and it will be available free on PlayStation 5 January the 20th. Team up, tag in, welcome to 2XKO, the free-to-play fighting game from the makers of League of Legends and Valorant. 2v2 combat in 2XKO, good teamwork makes the difference between victory and defeat. Fight solo to control both champions on your team, or grab a friend to duo with. Switch up your game every match with Fuse's powerful playstyle modifiers that change the rules your team plays. You've got legendary fighters. League of Legends' iconic champions take the stage with fresh movesets inspired by the MOBA and reimagined for fighting games. Immerse yourself in the world of Runeterra with beautifully crafted stages, cutting-edge 2D graphics, original music tracks that bring your battles to life, and you've got lobbies and matchmaking as well. Step into a virtual arcade where your next duo partner or rival awaits. Ranked, casual, and private lobbies let you play your way, whether you want to compete, spectate, or just smash. Plus, with best-in-class rollback netcode and anti-cheat systems, 2XKO delivers fair, lag-free gameplay every time you queue up. We'll see the longevity of 2XKO. This is going to be one of those games that when it comes out, I think it'll get a lot of interest, and we'll see where it settles at by the end of 2026. There's a lot of competition, and certainly with 26, there's going to be a lot of attention on Marvel Tokon. That is going to be one of the biggest fighting games of the year. 2XKO going to be one of the biggest fighting games of the year, and I'm sure there will be other games to be looking at as well. Street Fighter 6 will continue to get its updates, so on and so forth, but 2XKO will be dropping on January the 20th, and with that release, it will be leaving early access and available on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. On PC, it won't be available on Steam. They're just opting to go on their own client and via a client download. I could see it ending up on Steam sometime down the line. We've seen that so many times in the past where games would come out, especially live service games. They would stay off of Steam for a while, but ultimately a year or so after, it'll come to Steam as well. We saw that with games like Wuthering Waves, Escape from Tarkov, so on and so forth, but 2XKO again dropping January 20th. Alright, another title that's dropping in 2026, albeit a little bit later on. Phantom Blade Zero is getting a lot of attention. I saw the numbers it was pulling during the Game Awards. It's gonna be a gigantic release, you guys, and already the game has cracked 1 million wish lists. In just 15 days since opening on December the 12th, Phantom Blade Zero has hit 1 million wish lists from everyone on the dev team. Thank you for the overwhelming support, they noted on Twitter. Wishing you all a happy new year. Launching worldwide on September 9th, 2026. I love that this game is going to be one of those titles that I feel like is going to kick off that back end of the year where a lot of big games come out. Usually it's end of August into September, early September, where you see the big releases really pile up. But can you imagine if all goes according to plan right now, that back end of 2026, Phantom Blade Zero, Marvel's Wolverine, and Grand Theft Auto 6. I know Grand Theft Auto 6 is kind of comical to talk about a release date, but dude, those 3 games coming out in the span of potentially 2.5 months, that is going to be an insane stretch for games, and I could see Phantom Blade Zero being one of the biggest games of 2026. We'll see if it becomes a legit viable Game of the Year contender and a game at that level, but based on what I've seen thus far, this game looks like a stunning action title, and you know me, every time that they reiterate, this isn't a Souls-like action game, this isn't a Souls-like RPG, this isn't a Souls-like game, I get even more excited about the game. Souls-like games are so prevalent these days that when a studio comes out and they're like, this is just an action game. It's not a Souls-like game. You can play it on easy difficulty. You could play it on the super hard difficulty. Man, that makes me excited. As somebody that is doing a playthrough of Elden Ring right now, and I'm pretty close to the end of the game, you know, I appreciate Souls-like games. I get why people like them, and I like a lot of the Souls-like games. I recommend Lies of P all the time. I am a little bit tired of so many Souls-like titles, and maybe it's just a factor of, hey, you can avoid these games, but when I hear things about the Ghost Runner developer working on a Souls-like game, I'm just like, alright dude, do we need this many Souls-like games? And, you know, a lot of the times they don't have these difficulty options, although, you know, maybe part of my badgering, and I'm sure it's more to that, but it feels like more and more of these Souls-like games, Lies of P, First Berserker Kazan, they're getting these easy options, which I'm all in favor. You know, you can make fun of me all you want. You can go the Wolfenstein route and, you know, have the game literally make fun of you. I don't care. Easy mode is something I could definitely get behind, and Phantom Blade Zero is just a straight action game that I'm excited for. Incredibly stylish and incredible from a visual standpoint. And you know what? 2.5 years ago, I remember when this game was revealed at the PlayStation Showcase, and I was vocal about the fact of, hey, I don't know if we're ever even gonna get the game. And can you guys really blame me from having that thought process with a lot of these games that get stuck in development? How's the KOTOR remake working out for you? How's that game working out for you? You know, we see these games, how's Star Wars Eclipse working out for you, by the way? We see these games get revealed, and then they're just in development for eons and eons, and then they never come out, and then we just quietly forget about them, or, you know, they assume we quietly forget about them, they're canceled, whatever the case may be. And I thought Phantom Blade Zero had the potential to go that route. Thankfully, it didn't, and it's coming out even sooner than I had expected. September of 2026, again, one of my most anticipated games of the year, and now that we're actually seeing gameplay of this game refined and what it'll look like in-game, when that initial trailer, you know, had the vibes of, okay, this might be a little bit too good to be true, and I had somebody that I was talking to them about Phantom Blade Zero, and they exactly didn't know what I was talking about until I showed them some of the gameplay, and then it dawned on them, and they thought the same thing, and they thought that Phantom Blade Zero was a game that, when it was revealed, and I'm sure a lot of people were of that notion, and that's just natural in gaming these days, that you see a game and you're like, this feels a little bit too good to be true. But 2026, we're gonna have Crimson Desert come out. We're gonna have Phantom Blade Zero come out. And hopefully those are the 2 games I'm looking at that very much gave me, this looks too good to be true. Hopefully both of them turn out well. Lastly, I do want to know, while it's not going to be dropping in 2026, a game that I'm sure eventually is going to be on the radar of everybody is the action stealth title that Kojima Productions will be moving towards, as they have kicked off development on Fizzint, and 2026 is going to be a major year for the development of that game. In 2026, a message from Kojima notes, we will move forward with the second phase that leads into Kojima Productions' third phase. Unlike last year, like I was traveling all over the world, this year will be about staying grounded and laying solid foundations. We will continue development on the horror game OD and move forward with preparations for the espionage action title Fizzint. This includes casting actors, scanning, and performance capture shots. Also be pushing forward with the live-action film of Death Stranding, as well as its animation projects, both the movie and series. In addition, we're preparing several events this year. Once things are finalized, I'll be able to share more this year. Also marks my 40th anniversary in the games industry from 1986 and began my journey in game creation. Thank you, as always, for your continued support and supporting Kojima Productions. I look forward to another great year. The only thing that is a little bit disappointing is Fizzint is a game that, man, I don't know when that game is going to come out, like 2028, 2029 at the earliest, and OD, I feel like I've been hearing about this game for years and years. Hopefully at some point it actually comes out, because OD is the one game that for a while I also got vibes of, I don't know if this game's actually going to make it to the finish line, but we'll see how that ultimately turns out. Fizzint is one that I'm sure will actually come out, and Kojima going back and doing an action stealth title, I think will be pretty exciting. A stealth espionage experience, however you want to view that as. But we'll see what he's got cooking in 2026. But that's going to do it for me. Again, 2XKO will be launching on January the 20th. Phantom Blade Zero is going to be one of the biggest titles of 2026, and Kojima is going to be working on a lot of projects in 26. But as far as new releases outside of ports of Death Stranding 2 and potentially Death Stranding 1 on Switch 2, I wouldn't expect to be seeing new projects there. But that's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.